So in this video, I'm going to share with you why I'm switching up a lot of my content to talk about what's happening in the world. I've talked about this before, but I think especially if you're a subscriber that's been with me for some time, I value you. I appreciate you. I'm not just going to make changes and not keep you in the loop. So I'm going to dive into what is going on in my brain and what I'm thinking in this video, and then share some maybe positive glimmers of hope that I think is happening in the world. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because, I don't like to be let down. I like to be realist, but also be optimistic. I am optimistic about everything, but it doesn't mean, like, if you're watching this channel, that we don't just sit and say Om all day long, right? We take actions toward creating the life that we want, and also toward creating the world that we want. That's a great segue into the reason that I'm making these videos, deviating a lot from talking about spirituality, consciousness, the power of thought, health and wellness, health, wealth, and success, to more addressing these issues. And the reason that I'm doing that is because here's my thinking. Let me think about this here so I say it correctly, because I was thinking about this earlier today and I want to get this in the right way. What my thinking is this. You and I are in the game of creating a better world. We're in the game of shaping the world in a positive way, being conscious creators. If you're a creator, well, you're a creator already. It's just, what are you creating? That's the question. Being conscious about what we create, being conscious about what we consume, being conscious about the experiences we create, because we're thinking about things we want to have happen and not thinking about things we don't want to have happen. And we're being conscious in relationships, we're being conscious in diet, because you and I are conscious creators. All of it matters. Everything we're thinking and feeling and saying and ultimately doing is creating our future experiences. And feeling. Let's not forget feeling. That's very important. Because on this channel we talk about creating consciously, enhancing the human experience, I was compelled to start sharing information and knowledge about what's happening here. And a while back, when I made my first video shortly after President Biden's speech, I made my first video speaking out about this. I didn't talk about politics before that, but now I can't not talk about it, because all those things that we just talked about being a conscious creator, none of that can happen unless our world is free. Unless we are free people in every country, right? None of those higher level things can happen. It's almost like we've had to drop down and handle primitive level shit, which is getting our leaders to get off our back. And if I may be so bold, getting them out of the pockets of the corporations they're in. We've always known we have the best government you can buy in any country. That's a phrase that started in the United States, but it's relevant everywhere now. We've always known our political officials are often, to whatever degree you think, bought and paid for by corporations. Even if it's simply to facilitate the process of getting something approved. And I think we should all acknowledge that we have to have a little bit of flexibility with government officials so that progress can happen. You've probably experienced or know a corporation that's experienced too much government clamp down, too much regulation. But what I'm seeing is certain industries get a whole lot of regulation, and other industries, they just pass by their way through that regulation. That's the problem. And oh, by the way, those industries are integral to our health, or we're told they're integral to our health. Actually, that's not even a joke. They're integral to our health. Those industries are affecting our food. They're affecting our medicines. And if you mean to tell me that now it's coming out that those industries, let me do my little sign here, and our federal agencies that are supposed to protect us and police those agencies are intertangled, funds are crossing over. Come on, nonprofits are in play. Come on, really? I don't know about you, but I am freaked out about what food I'm going to be eating in the future. I don't want any of Bill Gates' food. I don't, thank you very much. Please, Congress, if you're listening to this, can you please label any food that's grown on a Bill Gates owned farm, because so I can know not to buy that, please? It's a simple thing. Just make a little G, a G with an X through it, so I know not to buy it. Personally, I don't trust that man. He is super suspect to me. That's a side tangent, but no, that's what I'm doing is I'm using my platform to share information that is beneficial to human beings. That's what I'm being called to do right now, because the media is not doing it to the degree that they should or in the way that they should. Why is that? Well, they're influenced monetarily by these large corporations. Who isn't influenced by these large corporations? This is what's scary about what's happening. If the corporations have a boatload of money now, and what's the first thing you would do if you had a boatload of money and you wanted to make more money? You'd buy more influence, right? You'd buy influence. That's what I'd do. And these people already have a proven track record of misleading the American public and making fraudulent claims about their products. That's well known. And they already have the largest fines in the history of US. You know, them and big oil, big pharma and big oil are duking it out for who's going to be the top, you know, have the top fine. They're suspect. But I made a commitment that I'm going to talk about this stuff as much as I can, as many days as possible, until everything gets resolved, until it's all back to normal. And what I'm seeing happening is politicians seem to be coming to their senses. And then it dawned on me today, because I'm I don't want to say naive, I'm a very face value kind of a person. And I thought, oh, they're coming to their senses. Then it dawned on me, well, we are in an election year in the United States. Of course they're coming to their senses. This is what I don't trust about these people. They sway whatever way the wind is blowing to keep their job and to keep their position. And it's bothersome. You know, I do not see thousands of people marching in the streets for what they're talking about. If those people exist, let's see them. We deserve to see you, because those are very drastic measures. I see hundreds of thousands of people marching in the street in alternative media channels around the world, never on the mainstream media. I see them marching against those things. I don't see people marching for all the other measures. We don't need to go through them. You know them all. I don't see that happening. And so who knows what the future is going to hold. But I'm going to keep talking about this stuff, because I don't think it's right to sit here and talk about higher level, you know, using our imagination and, you know, you can't talk about making the world a better place if you got a major problem that's making the world not a good place. And you have major human rights violations going on around the world. That's my opinion. I think a human rights violation is when a human says someone else is violating my rights. That should be investigated. It should be taken seriously, credibly. Or a human rights violation should be, a human experience violation should be, why are you censoring me? Right? Until the censorship stops, until people are re-platformed who have always been, we've held them up on pedestals prior to 2020 or 2021, and now the pedestals come out from underneath a bunch of these people because big tech says you're no longer credible. Censorship, I've talked about that before. Censorship is not the way to get this handled. You know it. You don't censor people. Everyone has a voice. I call it like the psychobiodiversity of the planet. The information and knowledge and wisdom that human beings hold, like then we pass on to generation after generation, is locked up in everybody's body and everybody's consciousness. You silence a part of that collective consciousness by a group of individuals. you're going to have a lesser wisdom moving forward. See, this is how backward it is. This is why I have to speak up, why I'm compelled to speak up. If you start censoring people individually, one by one, and make no mistake, it is one person or a group of people or one side that's censoring. I never hear anyone screaming that the right is trying to censor the left. I never hear anyone say that. It's always the media trying to censor. It's always the person in power that's trying to censor the person that's trying to speak to the person in power, that share information that would be damning to the person in power. Imagine that. That's why it's always suspect to me. I never hear it go the other way around. And if it does, the courts are immediately on it. Where are the courts now? I know lawsuits are in play from what I hear going on. I don't hear a peep about it because it doesn't get into mainstream media, because that would be damning to the powers that be, that just made hundred or billions of dollars in 2020, 2021 for something that we're now learning may not protect you that well. Who knows how well? We didn't get those numbers. But I'm committed to sharing information, right? I'm committed to this until it goes away, because again, we can't talk about higher level things until we have this out of control. So as always, I want to remind you that doing your part in this, if you care about the future of humanity, if you don't care, you're probably not watching this for one thing, but if you care about the future of humanity, remember, thinking for yourself, that's always a given, right? Thinking for ourselves, researching information and never taking at face value. Never take anything that anyone says at face value. There's a great, Napoleon Hill clip, or Carnegie? No, it's Napoleon Hill. Oh, I can't remember whether it was Dale Carnegie or Napoleon Hill, but I think it's Napoleon Hill. And he's talking about this idea. It's super short, but it's very apt to what's going on right now. He said, when someone tells you something, all you got to do really to ask them, make sure they know, is you ask them, how do you know? How do you know? Very simple. And if the person doesn't have a credible answer and something you can take and verify for yourself, why would you ever trust them? You wouldn't. At least put it into your body wisdom. But remember, when the mind is fearful, we can't think clearly. And the mind was conditioned over months and months and months watching the fear propaganda from the television. And then what happens? You become fearful. Reason number 5,028 not to watch the television. Reason number 5,029 not to watch the television. Oh, you remember those goals you've had for your whole life? How about to get started on them? How'd you like to get going? I mean, you and I are not going to live forever. We got to do our thing. Even if you're not ready to get started on them, how about drawing a mind map about all those goals? Your empire, your creative empire as a creator. I mean, it doesn't get simpler than that. How about scripting about those goals? I like to do bullet point style so I can keep my ideas concise. Mind map of your life and empire, and scripting your goals is way more interesting than watching the news. And if you're gonna veg out on something entertaining, like something that's gonna take you on a story or something. Don't veg out in front of the news. I mean, the news, they're messing with us. They're messing with our consciousness. You'll have so much more positive impact in the world if you don't listen to the news and instead say, hey, what does the world need? What kind of problems can I solve? You'll have a huge badass life, right? So to that point, a lot of my courses are in beta mode. And what beta mode is, well, the majority of them in beta mode. What beta mode is you and I on a recorded Zoom call going over the course in the PDF that you can download in the course. And we're going over it. And the one I want to talk to you about right now, talking about making a mind map of your life, is My Life by Design Journal. What that is is the journal that I created for myself to consciously create my life, get it on paper, design it out. It's basically straight up lifestyle design and bonus business design. Because as Gary Keller said, your business should support your life. You can't be doing business in one arena and your life in another arena with different core values. Everything has to be in alignment for the best possible outcome. And as you know, you can do business in different arena as long as you do it in a way that's in alignment with your values, right? But that's only if you run the business. Like if I'm thinking specifically of real estate agents, since we're talking about Gary Keller, that's if you run the business. If you're a ascension human being with core values and a life that you want to live, you can align your business with those values. Happens all the time. But if you work for a corporation, not so much. They have their mission. They have their core values. They have their purpose statement, and it might not be in alignment with yours. And then you have to ask yourself, and we've all been there, am I okay with potentially compromising my alignment and my soul's purpose for a while or forever as I make money from this corporation? Again, I know how the world works, and I'm not saying anything about that at all, but I'm just saying maybe you could be open, I don't want to say should, could be open to the idea of starting your own thing in the world where you shape the world in your own way and keep the day job, but shape the world in your own way too. Nothing wrong with that, right? That's where the mind map comes in. That's where all these things. So bottom line is this product, My Life by Design Journal, is step by step fill in the questions of a complete lifestyle design system. Your beliefs, things you should stop doing, things you should start doing, your core values, not only as a person, but also as your business. And in the business component, so we go through all these life things, talking about all the life areas that you have, rating them how they're going, figuring out where work needs to be done. I geek out on this stuff. Where work needs to be done so that you can address that specifically. For in my area, in my life area, relationships are really well and spirituality really well. I'm working on the wealth quadrant, right? Some things are going to come very naturally to you. Some people light up in the wealth and finance quadrant, but they need more help in the relationship or maybe health quadrant, right? Or health area of their life. So it's going to be different for everybody. But bottom line, you get a whole lifestyle design assessment, because remember, it's an inside reflects the outside. The outside is a reflection of the inside. So we go through all of life and then all of business, mission, purpose, core values, 10 things you know to be true about your business. That's a big one. Like some of the top 10 things I know to be true about my business, and you can probably guess this, is that I steal this from Pierre Desjardins and Wayne Dyer, we are spiritual beings enjoying a human experience. That's number one. It changes everything. Just like on the cover of my book right there, Boundless Joy. When you see yourself as a spiritual being, joy arises effortlessly, leaving no doubt for fear, anxiety, doubt, and worry. No room. That's another thing that I've been thinking about lately, is just thinking about God. However you see God in the world, however you imagine God to be. Pulling in a little play on Emmett Fox's The Golden Key, because that's going to heal up consciousness, right? However you see God, you're going to be able to overcome difficulties. Anyway, that's available at gmarkphillips.com/courses, and that will solve the problem that some people have that never took the time really to think out what kind of life they want. Like, what kind of life do you want? You can always start again and kind of wipe the slate clean and start building a new life, or shaping your new life and direct it towards where you go. Because in my experience, and I've done this, we kind of go into life and kind of have a loose idea, but we never have really got down on paper exactly what we want to build. You know, kind of going whatever way the prevailing winds blows is not a great life plan. Sitting down and contemplating how you want your life to be is a great life plan. How you want to feel, what you want to be, what you want to do, what you want to have, including things and experiences, right? That's important to get that out of your mind and onto paper so that you can work with it. And then every day, renew, revise, review, right? Those kind of things. So gmarkphillips.com/courses. If you are serious about planning a badass life, let's talk. Let's go. Let's put you through that course and get you that material so that you can get it on paper, put it up around your house, put up your blueprint for the life you want around your house, right? That way you see it every day and it's basically, here's what I do is not only do I have my Life by Design journal, but I have my life wall. And for me, since I have a digital business, all my stuff is up there. Books and courses and content streams, right? Big ideas, on the move, enhancing human experience. And all those things are up there because that's my kind of battle board of life, right? Life is a war, and the only person we're at war with is ourselves. And so that's my battle plan. And then I have all of those morning checklists and core values. And really, I like to keep the business stuff on one page: mission, purpose, core values, 10 things, those kind of things, so that I can keep it with me, right? So it's always there. I know what I'm doing. If you don't have a blueprint in the game of life, there's a high probability your house is going to be all wonky, right? It's not going to be built awesome. People spend a lot more time designing their homes than they do designing their lives. Just something to think about. gmarkphillips.com/courses. Let's talk. And even if you don't want the whole course, gmarkphillips.com/consulting will just work specifically on what you do need, right? It's lifestyle design. It's business design that's aligned with who you are and your core values. And I geek out on this kind of stuff. I've got like 25 and growing questions to help people arrive at their purpose in life. What's your purpose in life? And are you making progress towards living that purpose and doing that purpose? So check those resources out. Thank you so much for watching this video. Stay strong. Keep sharing information and knowledge. Keep thinking for yourself. Keep thinking positive. Keep your vibration really high. Do everything you can. As for me, I'm pulling out all the stops. This is selenite crystal. I've got some other, rose quartz around. I've got other tools that I got out. Like the other day, I got so fed up with feeling helpless, more helpless than I should feel. I got out a bunch of my tools and I said, I'm not playing around anymore. Like, I'm a spiritual being enjoying a human experience, and I'm going to bring the powers that imbues me with to this world. And I'm not going to be succumb to this negativity and evil mayhem that's going down. I'm not going to play that way. So I got into the freaking game in a bigger way. So anyway, have an awesome night. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing for more videos like this. I'd love to have you on the journey. And until next time, I wish you all the best health, wealth, and success. Have an awesome day.